So we are the Spoiler Kings, and this week we are talking Miss Marvel episode four. Four? I keep losing track.
Yeah,
I
This
think it's
is
four, right?
episode 4.
Yeah, episode 4. So there's a quick rundown before we get into what we like and dislike. And is she went back to Pakistan and is kind of reconnected with her mother or grandmother,
Mhm.
and it's her and her mom that went to Pakistan, and yeah, she's kind of figuring out who her great grandmother Aisha was.
How do you do that? Just like, hey, let's go to Pakistan. Let's get on a plane. Like what?
It did jump right into it, right? Didn't it?
Like, I mean, let's just go to Pakistan. That's what we do, guys. What?
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, they have family there.
They have that much money?
I guess.
Have you ever been on a flight that's for 22 hours?
Yeah, I was actually talking to one of my coworkers who has family in India, and he told me prices, especially right now, prices. I was like, that's one person.
It's like you talking about you spent $2,500 per ticket, and they just got on the plane and left. Like what?
Yeah. But
I would have loved
this is not this Earth.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Earth we're living in. It's a little bit of a better Earth. But,
I would have loved to have seen how that discussion between Kamala and her mother panned out.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of briefly touched on it a little bit, where they're saying she's doing it more for the grandmother than Kamala. You know, it was like, oh, she's an old lady and she was really wanting to see us. So I'm like, okay, so because then it kind of puts pressure on the mom to like obey her mother, kind of thing. So because there's that weird mother dynamic going on between all of them at this point. The whole family. So, but yeah, so I liked how they explained it, and that was just enough for me. I don't need to get into details on like where they got all the money from to go and stuff like that. But
I had that question when I was first watching, and then I saw them get a car service from the airport, and then I saw them riding in the BMW and the Audi and all that stuff. I was like, okay. It's all coming clear now.
They went to the party.
Yeah, exactly.
That was nice.
Like, let's just go buy new dresses. Let's go to the marketplace. And she just had a whole pocket full of cash. I was like, oh, it's all coming clear. Miss Marvel is actually Miss Batman. I got it. She's Mrs. Bruce Wayne. I got it. It's all coming clear, guys. I got
it. Yeah, I liked that this episode really, really leaned into the more into her family, her background, just the overall Pakistani culture as well. It really leaned into that, and you're kind of seeing it through. Kamala was very much a out of her element, kind of a fish out of water in terms of the culture, being a very Americanized Indian girl.
Mm-hmm.
So I really liked that they really delved into that, and didn't hold back in that regard. So I'm very, very proud of the show for embracing the Indian roots of the character and her family.
And they explained it too. That's what was really cool.
Yeah,
and understand how Indians that were Muslim had to leave India to go to Pakistan, how it was a mad dash and how crazy it is, and the partition, what the partition is. Like I was like, what the hell is the partition? And then I read about this stuff and I was like, oh, I knew about it, because India was one country and it was kind of split up and they had people going different ways, and it's like give you an education. I appreciated that.
Yeah,
as someone who likes to know what's going on in history and seeing it for someone else's, being able to empathize because you see it from someone who's been through it, who went through it. I think that's really cool too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
me too. Yeah, probably my favorite thing about this episode, and they even went a little bit into that in previous episodes. So I'm very, very proud of the show for going all in that regard.
Agreed.
I like how
I also like how they.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I like how they there was also like I think a lot of cultures where you go back to like your home country, even though you never lived there, like Kamala, you know. What did they say? ABC, like American
ABCD.
born confused.
Yeah,
What was it?
Desi.
ABCD?
Yeah,
What was the
ABCD. American born confused Desi.
Oh, okay, yeah. There you go. So stuff like that. But I always hear that too with like I have a lot of Hispanic friends. So when they go back to Mexico, they're like, oh yeah, like they like their family and friends can tell that they've been living in Chicago for too long, kind of thing. So I appreciated that where they didn't steer away from that. They're like, oh, she's still kind of an outsider, even there.
Even with her grandmother says, I think you're always dealing with who am I? Who am I really? Am I an Indian who Indian girl who came to Pakistan? Am I Pakistani? Am I both? Am I neither? And in different parts of my life, I'm always evolving. And she's like, even though I'm at the age I am, I'm still evolving still too. And I think I love that thought that you don't stop evolving just because you got older.
Just because,
you didn't find yourself all of a sudden just because it's something that continues to evolve. And like I was talking to my father about this, because he doesn't, his hard time watching it. It's because it's too teenagey, it's too preteeny for me. And I'm like, it's coming of age, and it's also if you allow yourself to open up to realizing you're never totally comfortable with what you're doing and who you are.
Yeah.
So even in your own life, you can still find your own times where you're not totally comfortable and understand where she's coming from. There's ways to empathize, and there's also ways to empathize with someone else's battle and their own problems. Look at and understand where they're coming from. Try to put yourself in their shoes.
Yeah. At least give it a shot.
Yeah.
So, I really like, just like you said, this show has overall been very much first and foremost a coming of age story, and that just happens to be centered on the girl with superpowers. But I like that they're kind of putting the coming of age aspect first and foremost. That's what's really engaging about the character of Kamala for me. And Iman Vellani just conveys that so wonderfully. Like I've said in the past over previous weeks, she's probably the main reason this show works.
She has a beautiful smile, and that disengages you immediately.
She has a great smile, and she's just so goddamn likable,
Well, I mean, you don't know that, but what you do know is that she smiles at you, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm taken back. But I think another thing with the show is it doesn't demonize the parents.
Yeah.
A lot of preteen coming of age stories demonize parents. They're stupid. They don't understand you.
Yeah, they don't. They don't even make an effort to understand. And
they're showing that these parents are actually trying to understand her, trying to get know where she's coming from, trying to get her to open up, and that she is a teenager who doesn't want to open up also and is afraid to open up. And it shows both sides of the story and understand also how the mother has the same relationship with the grandmother. And this is something that we're all going through, and we always continue to go through. You become a parent, you're still dealing with the same thing because you're still someone else's child.
Yeah, Kamala's mother is she's kind of she even has a story arc of her own, which we see more of on this particular episode. The conversation with her mother, that her mother was always kind of perceived as a weirdo, and by proxy she had trouble fitting in. And that kind of drove her away. So I'm liking that they're, just like you said, they're not demonizing the parents. They're trying to find common ground with Kamala. We're getting more and more information about Mrs. Khan in particular. So it's I'm really enjoying that in that regard. It's
that works too. What do you think, Tank? How'd you feel about it?
Yeah, no, I love that. I was agreeing with everything you guys are saying. I love Disney right now is doing this like generational conflict, turning red was a big one. Like, they hit it
one.
around the head. And I felt like this one, the same thing, it was like it's the issue between Kamala and her mom, but then you find out, her mom and the grandmother also have like this weird relationship, and yeah, now we're starting to figure out more of what the mom knows and what she's choosing not to believe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like it's so easy to say like, oh, we're these demon alien kind of things, they're jinn. And of course, like when especially when other people start making fun of your crazy parent, stuff like that, yeah, I can see why the mom wanted
It
to get away
shapes her
from it.
personality, right? I mean, you can see why she is the way she is. You can understand what she went through. Like her mother's too onto this artsy, to this crazy stuff. So she wants to be very pragmatic. She's very, what I see is what I believe. I'm going to be just like everybody else because I don't want to stand out because my mom stands out enough for me. But unfortunately, you get a daughter who's more like your mom. That's going to stand out. Who's not just has her 3 friends, but then she's going to still be herself.
Yeah, definitely like all that part of it. But like you said, they're not demonizing anybody. So it's like there's people that are having conflict that are disagreeing, but no one's like, at least among the family, because there is the bad guy of the show, but the family and stuff like that, no one's the bad guy. You know what I mean? Like you're more upset that like, well, why don't you understand what they're going through? It's not more like, oh, you're a bad person because you don't. It's I don't know. It's more realistic, at least in that kind of story.
If anything, it's very much portraying a very normal, given the considering the circumstances, normal, but like kind of healthy family relationship, family dynamic. I'm really loving that about this show.
It really scares me actually, as a father with young girls, all these little boys, these knuckleheads running around trying to talk to my daughters. Damn it! I don't want to see all these knuckleheads all over everywhere she goes. She goes another country, another knucklehead, Kareem, which I didn't mind because I don't know if you guys remember Ender's Game, which I love that movie and I love the books. But that little boy was in Ender's Game. As soon as I saw him, I was like, I know him. Yeah, and it totally disarmed me from him. I was like, this Kareem guy's going to get on my good side. I hate that. I'm going to allow him to get in my good side. I still hate Cameron, so it's okay. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm still rooting for Bruno, but Kareem is kind of getting on my good side.
He's just a badass. Like I just liked it. It was a very Mr. and Mrs. Smith kind of fight when they fought. That's what I kind of got. But like teenage, like fight, so it was like they didn't really try to hurt each other. They were kind of like pushing each other to see, stuff like that. So that was fun and entertaining, I thought. But I'm more curious on how she's becoming a better fighter. Like I'm sure they're gonna explain it just they're gonna explain it like it's in her gene. And the grandmother even said that in the show. It's like she's like, well, why are you caught up in that? It's just genetics. And I'm like, that's hilarious. That the grandmother of all people, like the older generation of this family, is like, why are you worried about that? Don't worry about that. Where a lot of other people, I think, in the real world, were all like, well, why they do this? Why do they do that? And she's like, it's just who you are. It's like you're not from this world. So it's like, oh, okay.
You're a Jinn. Oh, okay. So what?
Yeah.
But I thought that was really cool to even give the name the Jinn. And they haven't explained what it is yet. But I was really surprised that Cameron's mother just kind of left him hanging.
Yeah.
Cold-blooded.
That was cold-blooded.
Yeah. Oh, he made his choice. What?
Yeah.
He's a 17-year hormonal boy. You're doing wrong. What?
Yeah.
But
she
definitely makes it out
that she just said, she I was like, dang.
Yeah, it's tough love.
It definitely points it out that she is the bad guy, and that makes her even more of a bad guy. They're like, you don't care about your own family. all you care about is going back home, doing the mission.
Yeah, and it's kind of there's kind of that contrast in family dynamics with the
I watched
very
Umbrella
healthy.
Academy too.
I watched it. Started the new season just yet. I got to start it. Maybe like tomorrow after work. I'll finally start.
We'll probably do a whole season 1 review.
Yeah.
But that's in the book sometime soon.
I'd be good with that. But yeah, what I was saying was they're kind of showing that that contrast of family dynamics, like the very loving and healthy relationship between the Khan family and this very, very dysfunctional, she like you said, she abandoned her son.
Well, you can say the same thing with the Kareem character, with him being taught, the red scarf people, whatever, and he loses his guy immediately, and how he just kind of pushed on immediately. He has no one else. He just pushed on and kept on going. So it's like this. I think it's part of their daily life.
Yeah.
And
also I think he was trained for it. He's like, we're in this business, and this could happen at any moment, so
you need to be ready.
So yeah, that's very, very interesting. Probably keep this one a little bit shorter. So
okay.
We're already an hour and a half in altogether.
Yeah.
But any like predictions of where you want to see it go? Because I believe I think it's halfway done now. We're halfway through season.
Is it only 6 episodes?
I think it's only 6 episodes. I think we only got 2 more.
Only 2 episodes left, and there's going to be a time where what's going to happen? I want to know what's going to happen when Cameron, Kareem, and Bruno all look at each other, pointing at each other like, "What are you doing here? What you doing here?"
And she's like in the middle, like,
exactly.
Gotta go, and like big fist out of there.
Very curious to see where the next episode goes. I think they're going to show more of Aisha's past, or the grandmother's past, considering the way that
she's there now, because she's in the past.
Yeah, she's in the past, so
dealing with it. But I think that they're going to get her back home, and she's going to have to really work hard to make friends, make it up to Nakia. And the fact that she still hasn't responded to her because she feels betrayed. Like, you say you're my sister, but you can't tell me, but you can tell Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno here, but I'm just letting you know that's going to hurt. That's going to be something that's going to really affect. See what I did there?
But I'm thinking now that she's in the past and she's during the partition.
Partition, yeah.
And there's that whole story that her grandmother keeps talking about, that stars lifted her to her dad, during the partition. Now I'm thinking like
it's her,
it was Mala that did it, and then now she's gonna speak directly to her great grandmother Aisha.
Yeah.
So I wonder. I think that's what's gonna be, because the whole time I'm like, oh, the great grandmother saved the grandmother. Now the way it ended, I'm like, oh, she's gonna save her grandmother. And then also get to know her.
It also could have been Aisha that did it, and in return, and she's just reliving that life of what actually happened. Yeah. And then she's to talk to her and say, this is what's happening. And then she goes back to America, and then I think Kareem goes back to America with her, or he doesn't go now, but shows up in episode 6.
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, that will work.
I'm excited, man. 2 more episodes, and they're getting to her final costume.
Yep.
It's getting there. So I want to see her in the full get up, and then Monica or Carol Danvers.
Monica or Carol Danvers. It's going to be one of the two. I think it would make it even more of a payoff if Carol shows up, just considering how big a fangirl she is.
Yeah. The way the story is going, it makes perfect sense for Monica Rambeau to be the one doing it, because she's going to be part of that group, the government group. She's going to be the leader of that government group. That came to save them and arrested those people. She's going to be the leader. She's going to talk to her from there. That's what's going to happen in episode 6. It makes more sense for her. Carol Danvers, we don't know what's going on until we see Ms. Marvel too, or any of this stuff. She's still away. As far as we know, we don't see Nick Fury's not back, so it doesn't make sense for her to be doing this stuff. But it makes perfect sense for for Monica Rambeau.
Yeah, I think it would just be a good narrative payoff. You know, we don't know where Carol is. She's way off planet, somewhere in the galaxy.
She gotta be with Nick Fury. He ain't just out there just traveling the galaxy by himself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, we haven't got a big person in any of the shows yet. You know what I mean? So I wonder,
Hawkeye's not big,
this going to
big
do
guy?
Yeah. You know, but I mean, but he didn't have any big cameos besides Kingpin. You know, but also that was also another show series. So, are they going to bring in a movie person? And Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, would be great, and it would definitely set up everything. But I think
Monica Rambeau would bring all your Disney Plus shows together now.
Yeah.
So now all your Disney Plus shows come full circle, and you can show that this is one big thing that we've been going on writing. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
True.
Sure. So, but cool. Yeah. Anything else on this episode before we move on?
I'd say that's about it as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I just don't understand why she has to hide everything from her mom.
Yeah.
That's going to be a whole thing, you know, in itself when that gets revealed. Is it going to make things good, better, worse? I don't know.
Well, her mom will at least realize why she's with Nani. Realize that what Nani was telling her was the truth, and help mend other fences. But why won't you just let her know? Like, what are you afraid of saying? You afraid they're going to hurt her? They will hurt her anyway because they know who you are. So it doesn't even matter. Why not just tell her what's going on? I don't understand why you're hiding it.
I think it's a kid thing, you know. I don't know, maybe
teenage thing.
I don't know. I think Miles Morales hides it from his dad because his dad's a cop. Makes sense.
Like more of a reason to.
It's time for your mom just because what? Because she's your mom? Like whatever. You have a chance to show her in India, in Pakistan, with her Nani there, knowing that their relationship is splintered because of this stuff, and show this thing is real. And you have the support there already. So why not?
Yeah. It might happen next episode. It might be just like he gets caught.
Yeah.
But that's gonna be a fun part of the show when that does happen. I'll be interested to see what the mother, how her reaction.
Don't tell your father.
She's a very don't tell your father.
Don't tell your father.
It would be great to see how the father reacts, though, just considering his character.
Yeah. Super supportive. Yeah. It'll be funny. Like, he's like, oh yeah, I know. Like he already knows.
I've been watching it all the time. What you talking about?
Yeah. But cool, man. Let's move on. Make sure you guys check out all the other episodes we talked about. 2 more episodes, so we're gonna get into those in the next couple of weeks as well, and then do our official season 1 rating once all the season's done. But yeah, let us know in the comments what you thought about Ms. Marvel. Are you liking it? Not liking it? You know, where you think it's gonna go, where it's gonna end, stuff like that. So let us know. We like chit chatting in the comments.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Let's move on to a different